Hey guys, how's it going? This is Waj, and in this video I'm going to be discussing my top 10 reasons of why I think the Nexus 6 is a better smartphone than the iPhone 6 Plus. So if you're interested in perhaps getting the Nexus 6 over the 6 Plus, or perhaps any other smartphone that's out there that's a larger phablet device, this is a perfect video for you. We're going to be specifically talking about the present advantages the Nexus 6 has over the 6 Plus. So if you're interested in that, let's get right into this thing. Now, the first advantage of the Nexus is certainly got to be those dual speakers on the front of the device. It's basically using two stereo speakers, and even though they're not quite as good as what you find in HTC phones and things like that, they're definitely better than pretty much 90% of smartphones. And even though the 6 Plus has excellent overall speakers, very clear and very loud, I think this still edges out the sound quality. So if you're a big fan of having good external speakers that are front facing, this is one of those phones for you. At number 9, I also do like the fact that the new Android 5.0 has multiple user support, something that iOS should have had a long time ago. And so if you're a fan of basically sharing your device with family or friends, this is a perfect feature because you can create guest accounts or create multiple user accounts, and that way nobody gets into your stuff if you don't want them to. Another present advantage of Android L is definitely its notification system. I love the fact that it's always right there for you, and you can get quick glances and even get detailed notifications right on the lock screen. There's one really cool feature about the Nexus 6 is because it has an organic LED display, it can basically adjust light up the time and your specific notifications, and everything else in the screen will be off. So this is excellent for battery life, and it's definitely a more useful way to look at your recent notifications without actually turning on your display. At number 7, this is quite an obvious advantage to everyone out there, and that's the fact that the Nexus 6 has an amazingly beautiful display. It's almost 6 inches, almost 18% larger than what you'd find on the iPhone 6 Plus. And even though footprint-wise, it's not a tremendously massive phone compared to the iPhone. Sure, it is taller and wider and heavier and thicker in pretty much every way, but that's a sacrifice that some people might make for this beautiful Quad HD display. And one of my favorite aspects about it is that it is an organic LED display, so the black levels are absolutely insane, which is excellent for anybody that watches a lot of movies and things like that. And the brightness is very good, and the color accuracy is definitely not bad. The other awesome thing about Android is that it has much better support for higher resolution displays natively built into the OS, and developers don't really have to readjust their software too much compared to what developers have to do in iOS, which is certainly a bummer if you have an iPhone 6 Plus right now and you're using a third-party app that's not optimized for that new Retina 1080p display on the 6 Plus. You pretty much have to upscale it, and it looks ugly. So if you don't have an Apple native app, you're definitely not going to see the advantage of the 6 Plus versus pretty much every app that I personally use, third party and Google-based, looks beautiful on this display. So a big advantage there. Now, moving on, even though the Nexus has that Quad HD display, it does drain the battery life a little bit faster than what you would find on the iPhone 6 Plus. But it has a trick up its sleeve because we have turbocharging mode, which will get you from 0 to 50% charge in less than 30 minutes. In fact, in something around 6 minutes, I get up to 6 hours of battery life, which is pretty darn incredible. So if you're a real power user and always have the screen on pretty much all the time in terms of doing work and stuff like that, that's a real essential feature. Moreover, in terms of the ergonomics, now even though the iPhone 6 Plus is thinner and lighter than the Nexus, one advantage of the Nexus definitely has is that beautiful curved back, which is a nice subtle curve, much of what you saw in the Moto X and some of the HTC phones, and it feels really comfortable in the hand. It has a nice gradual curved even on the edges, and nothing is sharp, so everything is very easy to use and very ergonomically friendly. The other nice thing about it is that it has the buttons over here, which are the power and volume rockers right in the middle of the phone, so it's not as hard to reach as the iPhone, which are more on top and a little bit more lackluster in terms of placement. So I'm a big fan of the button placements, and even though it doesn't have any in-software one-hand operation mode, it can be used with one hand if you have larger hands. But because of that button placement, it really makes accessing the phone with one hand quite possible. Now, the Snapdragon 805 chip that's powering the Nexus 6 is a very fast processor and quite comparable in a lot of the performance specifications of the A8 dual-core processor that's in the iPhone 6 Plus. But one present advantage that it definitely has is more cores, and that's going to mean faster performance in multi-threaded applications. And more applications are going to be coded for multiple threads and multiple cores, and that's where the 805 will outperform the A8 in the iPhone 6 Plus. So definitely faster there. And the other big advantage definitely has to be the fact that this has 3 times the amount of RAM at 3 gigabytes versus 1 gigabyte on the 6 Plus. And that's definitely going to help out people that use a lot of applications that is CPU and memory intensive, which more and more applications are doing as they become more advanced and more feature rich. We do have a better overall stills capabilities on the Nexus versus the iPhone 6 Plus. Now, the 6 Plus has excellent color rendition, and the low light performance is definitely up there with the Nexus, but in terms of sheer clarity and resolution, we have 13 megapixel stills versus 8 megapixels, and we also have a higher resolution front-facing camera. The other advantage as well is that we do have better video capabilities in terms of just regular shooting mode. We have full 4K with image optical stabilization. Now, the iPhone 6 Plus can do optical stabilization in both video and photos, but its max resolution is 1080p at 60 frames per second versus 4K. You are recording at a much higher bandwidth. Additionally, the front-facing camera can record up to 1080p versus 720p on the iPhone 6 Plus camera. Now, the last and final advantage the Nexus 6 has over the 6 Plus definitely has to be more towards the value argument. Basically, you pay about $100 less for the Nexus and you get better overall features and hardware. You get that nicer screen and the nicer cameras, which is really the two kind of most important things for a lot of people out there. And if somebody's in the market for a big phablet phone, I think this is probably one of the best in terms of value. Now, traditionally, Nexuses were always really aggressively priced. If we take a look at the Nexus 5 that came out last year, it was very aggressively priced, almost like half the price of what premium smartphones had, and it had all of those top of the line features. Now, this certainly has all those top of the line features, but it certainly can't be half the value as the phablets out there, because you still have to pay for the Quad HD resolution screen, you still have to get the 805 Snapdragon chip, and you still have to pay Sony or whoever makes these nice camera sensors. So definitely a competitively priced phablet nonetheless, and perhaps that might sway you to get this over the iPhone 6 Plus. And if you take a look at this phone compared to the other popular Android phablet phone, which is the Samsung Note 4, I think the fact that this is running the stock Lollipop, it really might present some people that advantage of running a very clean running all operating system that's very comparable to what you find in the Apple platform in the iPhone, but you don't have any of the kind of quirks that certainly TouchWiz can have. So if you're interested in full-on comparisons between the iPhone 6 Plus, the Nexus, and the Note 4, definitely check back to our channel where you'll find a full-length comparison video on all three of those phones. And if you're also interested in hearing the counter argument of this video, definitely check back to the end of this video where you'll find my top 10 reasons of why I think the iPhone 6 Plus is better than the Nexus. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any specific questions about anything I talked about, please make sure to leave that on a comment down below. Make sure to give us a thumbs up if you like the video. That really helps us out. And we'll see you later. Take care.